Hi, everybody. Welcome to GSO TV episode 2. And we are going to go over the last week's greatest news, starting with student highlights. Student highlights is at any time a solo experience highlighting a particular student, or as we go forth and we have more and more episodes, we're going to highlight homework assignments from that week. So we're going to keep it pretty relevant. So the first one up, just want to highlight here Praveen. So Praveen, let me switch screen here so you can see what I see. Praveen has been with us for a long time. So he's in the environment curriculum and he's doing a bang up job. You can always see him modeling and progressing. So right now his focus is on texturing. And, a few things here. If you really haven't seen his stuff, you should definitely check his stuff out. This is our first environment contest that we did over probably, I would say, a few semesters ago. And from what he started out with to what he ended up with, this is one of the best stuff I've seen him done. And it's probably the most creative liberties that he's done, where the theme of it was a post-apocalyptic flying vehicle, right? So as you can see, it looks cool. It looks definitely something from Mad Max. And there's plenty of other stuff here. This telephone is his first real textured full asset, and he was able to take all the critiques that you can see if you're a member on Patreon, see his progress from start to finish, and he was able to deliver that in a very, very good turnaround and produce a really good asset at the end of it. So again, just tag at admin at bfam if you want to be highlighted or looked at for next week's student highlights, right? This is a great way to get some exposure, get some motivation. You got to tag us if you want to get a chance. Portfolio, your latest piece. Slowly, this is going to be, your most recent homework assignment, so that this is kind of like our week 6 now in our summer semester, I guess, summer semester. So it's a great way to kind of see everyone's progress and be motivated by the best work of each curriculum, each course, right? Next up is the GSO live schedule, and I just want to highlight in this screen of what's coming up. So if you're a member, or you're thinking of being a member, or you don't know what members do, right? Again, GSO is completely free. All the courses, curriculum, Discord. You can definitely learn if you're motivated enough and get a job without being a member, right? But if you want that extra help, we set you up with scholars who are our industry professionals from AAA companies that helps you either as a group or individually. So highly beneficial. And as you can sometimes see when especially in the Discord, that a lot of students are liking the experience. So that's a quality that we are very proud of, and we're going to keep up. So with that being said, this is the June event schedule. You can find this on gameschoolonline.com under the GSO Live link. And upcoming sessions are the environment critique for regular members, lighting critique, right? That's the 20th. And, there's a pro lighting scholar session happening as well with our very own Leo Gonzalez. Well, actually, that's Leo Gonzalez, but slowly all the lighting critiques, starting with this one, is going to be taking place with Thomas Wright. Again, Thomas Wright, we introduced him last week. He used to work at Epic. He worked at Paragon. He worked on Fortnite. He was at Naughty Dog. So amazing guy. So you're in a lighting course, and you're a member, you're getting a real treat, learning from the best, basically. So if you are familiar with any of the Naughty Dog work or Epic, you're dealing with the powerhouses of lighting. So be sure to check that out. And next week as well, sessions are happening with this week, starting this Saturday. So you guys are watching this on Friday. Tomorrow, Rosie Katz, our resident level designer, she worked on Dead Space. She worked on Call of Duties, like a lot of Call of Duty titles. She's really well experienced, really good level designer. And then I believe there's one more session next week with Kevin Dibble. He's at 343 Studios. He pretty much worked at all the companies in Seattle. He was at Bungie for a while, Monolith. I worked with him over at Sledgehammer. He even worked at Infinity War. I think now he's at Infinity War. He's working on the next Call of Duty title. So that guy's been all over the map. Amazing environment artist. So don't miss out, guys. If you guys are a member, make sure you watch us on Patreon. You know, every time, if you can't attend the live sessions, you can watch the recording. If you're not a member and thinking about it, I highly recommend it. I think it's only helpful. We charge a very, very minimum fee, and all that goes back into the school to create new courses, to bring on more scholars. So it's the circle of life. That's just what GSO is living off of, is to help you guys to not have any debt. So if you guys like what we're doing, become a member, go to our Patreon. Next, I want to highlight a new scholar. So Josh Power is someone we introduced last week, but because he just moved to his place, he's getting his internet, so there's a little hiatus. So in place, we have a returning scholar. He is awesome. He did one workshop with us. I forgot which episode, but his name is Sean Marino, and let me highlight some of his stuff. So if you look at his LinkedIn, right, that handsome fellow, I worked with him initially at Sledgehammer. Right now he's at Riot, right? That little company called Riot Games. His focus is over there is he's just a general 3D artist, but his main strength has always been weapons and vehicle. Amazing, kick-ass, awesome guy, right? Some of his work, right? Let me try to go back. So Sean Marino, find him on ArtStation. You know, look at this stuff. It's cool. It's awesome. You know, he's obviously a huge Star Wars fan. A lot of this is his personal work. But if you go over here and look at his weapons, some of the stuff that was worked on at Advanced Warfare on Call of Duty when I was working with them, these vehicles. So he is meeting with our weapon students this week. And I think there's another one at the end of the month. And he's going to be taking over all those sessions from this day forward. So for those guys who are not on those one-on-one critiques, you know, you can watch the recording, and I think there's so much to learn just by listening. It's basically a video podcast. If you are not a member, or if you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you're just watching a student with a scholar, and there's so many little gems like peppered through all those. I believe we're on episode like 109 now, so there's 109 of these, an hour session each, that's with amazing scholars. So yeah, check out some more of his work at Sean Marino on ArtStation. You'll find it, and I think it's going to be only helpful for you guys. So we're moving pretty fast, but that's because we have a full schedule. The next thing we want to talk about is GSO Workshop. All right, guys. So everybody is, we shared a little info last week about GSO Workshop, just a little brief glimpse, but this week I kind of want to talk more about behind the scenes, how it got started. But first of all, let's introduce you guys to everybody. Well, by your real name first, and then by your Discord name, so people can recognize you. So anyone who wants to go first, go for it.
I'll go first. It's me, Paul Miller. You might know me by my super secret agent handle, P Miller. I don't know if you made the connection, but you know it's there. It's there if you look between the lines. But yeah, Paul Miller, P Miller on Discord.
And what role do you play with the GSO Workshop? How did this idea get started?
Before we're getting too into the weeds about it, I did the VFX, and I effectively just asked everybody if they wanted to do it. I don't know if there's a role for that, but you know, that's it. Did VFX and just talk to everybody. You know, we can get more into it later, but that's the summary.
Next, how about you, Sean?
Well, I'm Sean Boot. Yeah. I'm Sean Booth. I go by Booth, and I was the lighting artist on the workshop game. That's about it.
Cool.
And Paul's being a bit humble. He was also director. We all looked at him as director, so he's just he's being a bit humble.
Oh boy.
Praveen, let's introduce yourself.
Okay, my real name is Praveen and my Discord name is Praveen. And I was the artist for the 3D artist for the project, and that's it.
Sweet. All right, so let's talk about the idea and where this started and how it became an actual playable demo real quick.
Oh man, dude, I was thinking about that earlier today. You guys mind if I go? I'm sorry, I know is that cool? Can I just jump in? Okay, I'm
Just
gonna
jump in whenever.
Cool. So it started. You can probably look back in the chat because it didn't even start that long ago. It started at like the top of last month. We were just talking about in Gen Chat, like, man, we should really make a game. Effectively, that's what it was, right? If anybody remembers, like, we were just talking about, like, man, we should have a game jam. That's what it was. We should have game jams every month. We started with that. And then as it went on, it kept evolving, and it kept evolving into effectively, man, we've got all these talented people here at Game School Online. It is a real shame that we're not using everybody's skills and having it so that, you know, we can all grow from a shared experience. You know, the idea was, you know, why wait for anybody to tell us to make a game? We have the skills. We can do it. We can learn on our own. F that 2-year hump that people are talking about. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? That's basically how it started. You know, and it was more of like an educational thing for us to all learn something. You know, that's basically how it goes. I don't know if the others have any have a different look on it, but that's the way I understood it.
Yeah, it sums it up pretty good.
So, how long did it take to recruit everybody to finally? So we kind of went over this a little bit, but just to give someone an idea of like from initial interest to finally having a core team that was regularly working on it. So what was that number like from beginning to middle to end? To how many students was interested, to how many students that was constantly working on it, to how many students you guys ended up in delivering it together?
I know we had more of an overview of everybody involved, but I still have a list. It started out with 12 people that emailed me interested about it. It started out with that. And in fact, actually, it really started off with me and Booth because we were like, yo, let's do this other game. We had a stealth. Remember that? There was a stealth game that was all Booth's idea, and I was really down with that. But as it started to growing, but it started out with 12, and then it ended up with 5 people. Roughly. Six people.
Did it ever balloon from 12? And then that was the highest number. Okay, so from 12 to 6.
Not in any serious way. I mean, obviously, I had several people message me on Discord, and then I responded back to them, and then they never got back to me.
Right.
So there was a lot of that. But I'm saying, when I say 12, those are the people whose email we got and who had some kind of discourse with us and who expressed interest at least for the first 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Praveen, that like when did you get involved in the process?
Yeah, I've been in there from the start. You know, Paul and Sean, they were doing a discussion in Discord, you know, about making a game and stuff, and I basically jumped in. So, you know, I showed a bit of interest and I got involved in the project. But, you know, for the art side, there were only 2 of us available, Dane and myself. I was only able to participate after the project was halfway through. So most of the assets were used from the Unreal Marketplace because the whole plan was to create the project in a month. Anyway, Henry Lynn, he did an awesome job of creating a list of assets for us to choose from. You know, something that would benefit the project and also look good in our portfolio. He had a set of images of potential props in Trello. You know, we were using Trello boards for this and stuff. And I made a couple of props and Dane made a couple. And he also had 2 light maps because Sean was using static lighting. So that's basically
Can I just say one thing? Sorry, I just gotta say this. I don't know what these cats are learning here at GSO, but the artist that worked on this, Praveen, you killed it, dude. Like, this is actually fun fact. This is the first time I've actually got to speak with Praveen, like, at all. Like, it's always been text, and but yeah, dude, Praveen killed it, and he did a really great job, especially because at the beginning, Praveen said it took him forever to finish a model, and we were like, I remember we expressed this amongst ourselves. We were like, "Oh man, well, it's fine, he's new." And this guy comes in later and delivers these two crazy assets in like not even half the time that he expressed the first time. So we're over here like, what was he talking about? This guy's really good. Way better. He was being very humble. So anyways, just want to say, Praveen, you killed it, dude. I appreciate it. Like, everything you did, dude. You did awesome.
Thanks, man. You guys were the main heroes for this. You are the ones who organized this. You, Sean Booth, and Henry Lynn. So to you guys.
It was a great time. So.
Well, that's the number one lesson: always undersell and over deliver. Never fails.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked. Well, I mean, we're very impressed. Everybody, if you have not checked it out, please be on the Discord channel because so much stuff happens there. Yes, we are doing GSO TV every week. We're doing the Monday newsletter to kind of keep everyone in the loop, but Discord is the daily, I would say, minute by minute play of everybody. So much activity is happening, and again, this is a testament, like getting together, doing the extra mile, and really pushing each other, and it really helps to be in a team kind of setting. So with that being said, you guys are doing amazing work. Like, what's the next step here? Anyone can answer this. How would people get involved from this point forward? Who do they ping if they're interested? What should they do?
Oh, dude, so you guys go first. One of you guys go first. I have 1,000 answers for this, but one of you guys go first.
Okay, I would say if you want to get involved, definitely DM Paul. He's our de facto leader. So if you want to get involved, definitely contact Paul. Our next steps right now, Paul is working on cutting the trailer and getting promotional materials together because we got some really big news a couple weeks ago or a week ago or something. If you're in the workshop channel, you'll notice that thanks to Mr. Gonzalez, Epic wants to take a look at promotion on it. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty big for us and pretty exciting stuff.
Yes.
And that was never even the intention at all. Like, that just happened. That was the amazing part of it. Leo just brought it up in the Discord, and I think you messaged us. You messaged me later, Booth, and I was like, "What is he talking about?" He saw that, and I was like, "What? Okay." Did not plan on this, but we're so thankful at all it happened.
Yeah,
Leo had some really good news for us.
Yeah, so like GSO has an Epic connection from way back, and this is something that we definitely want to push. I feel, and we feel overall, that it's something that it's worth showing, and you guys put a lot of dedication behind it, and it's something I think Epic would be totally proud of, and it's something that we'll push. So once you guys get those things in order, all viewers and everybody involved in the project, you're gonna see that over in Epic, Twitter, or Facebook or something. So it's really cool stuff.
To address your other question, like what's next and all that stuff, I imagine you meant like regarding just the workshop and stuff. So like right now it's taken a little bit of a hiatus because a lot of things have been happening for everybody involved. And so at least the roles that we had before, we're just consider it a slight hibernation. But that being said, I would encourage anybody else in GSO to please do it. One, you will learn so much about the process that you didn't even know before in game development. Like, you would not have thought of any of this stuff. I'm telling you, nothing you would have thought of. So anybody listening, just try it. Just try it. And Booth knows exactly what I'm talking about. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. We learned so much. So if you're listening, the next thing, if you want to do this, do not wait for me. Message me or anybody that was involved. I will help you. because I think if we all make games for GSO, man, we could really do something big here. We got the steam moving. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't wait for anybody to give you permission. Go ahead and make that damn game. Hashtag GSO Online. So
Cool.
GSO Workshop.
All right, guys. Thank you everybody for joining me, and thanks guys.
Oh heck yeah, man! Let's do this again. This was fun.
Yeah. Every week, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Heck yeah! All right, guys. I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Yeah, see you.
So Booth, from the last week, we talked about how you are starting your first job in the industry at Avalanche Studios. So how was your first week?
It's been amazing. It's everything I dreamed it could be. And I'm beyond fortunate to have landed at Avalanche. Avalanche takes care of us. Work-life balance is priority number one. So like I'm in the office an hour early and an hour late every day. And a few people, including my producer, are like, so we're noticing that you're here early, you're staying late. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to leave. This is amazing. But they're constantly expressing concern that, they don't want to see anybody get burnt out or anything like that. The team is my family now. I was very warmly welcomed by everyone. My first day, I had to get up in front of the entire company and introduce myself, which was nerve-wracking, but pretty cool. And everyone comes by every now and then, introduce themselves. Today was pretty cool. I did some gameplay lighting, and my producer was highly impressed with what I was producing, and other artists were equally impressed. So my confidence is right where it needs to be. There's no more imposter syndrome. You know what I'm saying?
That's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
That's great. So I'm just gonna go straight to the questions on Discord, and we can just answer it one by one. So this is from Desirius, and question is there anything you did practice or learn prior to joining GSO that has been beneficial that isn't software related? That's the first question.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who doesn't know, before I jumped into video games and came to GSO, I was a cameraman and lighter in Hollywood, working on movies and television. So 15 years of working with the top cinematographers and working on big projects definitely built the experience and foundation I need to be a lighter. And it's definitely transferring over as a cinematic lighting artist. It's quite interesting to trade knowledge with the games lighters and myself. And it's really cementing our collaboration and working environment. So there's that. Plus, I have a photography background before that. And I've always been studying lighting. So not software related. If you want to be a lighter, you got to study light in every way that you can. Whether it's reading white papers, science journals, anything you can get your hands on for lighting, you got to read, you got to open your eyes and pay attention to the world, take pictures, learn and understand exposure and how light behaves. That's literally my biggest tool is the knowledge of lighting. So I hope that answers the question pretty well.
Awesome. Yeah, I really do think that's helpful to have some prior knowledge, but overall it's hard work that got you the job. So
yes.
So second question from Dicerius, do you have to spend a lot of time learning and keeping up with their in-house tool? If so, how much? So I'm guessing this is referring to your first week, which is let you answer it.
Okay, so learning the in-house tools only takes place in-house. It's not like I can come home at night and study anything. And it's all proprietary. So there's no real accessing of company servers or anything like that. Remote work. So basically my 8-hour workday is learning the engine, just jumping in and pretty much drowning in the engine to learn as fast as I can. But that being said, every single member of the Avalanche team is always available for any questions I have. Not just my lead and fellow lighters, everybody. Like, I sit right next to a vehicle artist, and he's my first go-to guy because he's right next to me, and he's super helpful. But yeah, it's pretty much just in-office learning, and it's pretty accelerated. I have a notebook that's half filled already with notes and things, because for those who have never worked with a proprietary engine or anything other than Unity or Unreal, proprietary engines are the way to go. They are just, how do I answer this without getting in trouble? They are so powerful and can't even touch. So it's exhilarating and daunting at the same time. But the Apex engine is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, last question for this series. What are the biggest difference from learning on your own and now doing it professionally?
Well, doing it professionally, I have tons of support and help. I have a knowledge base in the form of, a couple hundred people who've been using this stuff and have lots of AAA experience. So learning is simply just asking a question and getting an immediate answer. As far as self-learning, I was able to learn specifically what I wanted. If I had a question, I went to Google, I went to GSO, and I could find that answer with some time spent. And I was able to learn exactly what I wanted to learn. Whereas professionally, I'm learning what I need to learn. So I would say the difference is self-learning, I'm learning what I wanted to learn. And professionally, I'm learning what I need to learn.
Awesome. Let's do a couple more questions.
I already answered Notch's question. I think the last questions are for Praveen.
Okay, let's do Praveen. And let's do one not from Notch in case someone didn't read it.
Okay.
A lot of studios naturally tend to ask for prior experience when hiring candidates. When it came to Avalanche Studios, what did you put in your resume to get to the interview stage, and what sealed the deal for you?
Okay, so my resume consisted of my GSO internship and my 15 years of Hollywood experience. And during my interview process, they actually went over my resume because they didn't understand the GSO internship, how I had it listed. So they asked about that. And what I was able to tell them was, yes, I worked remote, and I explained how we all worked remote on this project together. And just explained to them my involvement in the internship. And they were quite impressed with GSO and how, you guys organized that internship. And then we talked about my Hollywood stuff. But what got me that far was my portfolio on ArtStation. That's what got them to contact me in the first place. They didn't even look at my resume until they were looking at me on camera. And we discussed it. And by we, I mean the art director, Thomas Klingston, and myself. And based on that interview, which I just approached as, hey, I'm just talking to a buddy, a fellow game dev, and we're just chilling. So I was really relaxed for the whole thing, which I think helped. And, he gave me the art test, and we went from there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. One last question, and this is from Praveen. Can you break down your first day at work? Did you start lighting away, or did you spend a few days training? Were you working closely with environment artists? How was it structured? How steep was the learning curve? Did you experience your new job? A lot of questions here. So generally, what was your first day like in your first week? Yeah, in terms of...
Okay, so the first day, I actually got to the office at 8 a.m., but it didn't need to be there till 9:30, so I just kind of hung out on Broadway. and just waited. And then I went in, and I was the second person there, the first person being an HR member. So she took me to my workstation, gave me my key card, gave me some physical paperwork that I needed to fill out right away. And that paperwork was like, here's your company email, sign in and change it from Swedish to English and XYZ, and just basically got me set up at my workstation. And then once the company got in, we had a stand-up meeting where we went over the E3 coverage of Just Cause 4. And then, of course, I was introduced right after that and had to speak to everybody, which was pretty cool and nerve-wracking. But after that, we introduced a new employee who works remote, and he's on the build side of the team. And then after that, I got with my lead and my other fellow lighter who has tons of experience. And they just basically ran me through, like, here is how we use Perforce, and here is our in-house tools, and walked me through the workflow of getting that set up. And then they introduced me to the engine, and I pretty much spent the entire day learning about the engine and how to get running with that. The second day, I went with Lauren, and she walked me through the cinematic side of things and how to find and open up our cinematic sequences. And the rest of the day was learning the ins and outs and limitations of different things and different tools, and also the plus sides of different tools and what have you. And then yesterday, I was introduced to typical game dev world, where I couldn't compile for any reason. And the entire day was spent troubleshooting my workstation. And then this morning we got it figured out, and I jumped right into doing some gameplay lighting as a test to see what I could do with my time, how I manage my time, and, what I would do without any direction whatsoever. And that went really well.
Nice.
So tomorrow I'm getting my hands on my first cinematic, and I can't wait.
Well, Booth, we are very happy for you. We know as long as you keep working hard, as you've always have, that you're going to continue your success. So we are eagerly waiting more and more info without breaking NDA. So maybe in a month we'll check back with you, and we'll just periodically check out with you. I'm sure a lot of students are going to benefit a lot and be motivated by your story. So with that being
I hope
said,
so.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sean. And that's the end of this week's GSO TV. If you guys want to submit or ever want to ask questions, just make sure to at BFAM or any of the admins, Booth being one of them, and I'll make sure to cover it for next week. Thanks, guys. That's it, man. Thank
Cool.
you, dude. That's
Of
a lot
course,
of fun.
man. Thank